Hey everyone, welcome back to the Devy Huddle. We took a couple weeks off, but we're back. I am Brandon Lejeune, host of the Devy Deep Dive podcast, and I'm here with the Dashboard team. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Doing good.
Good.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we were talking just, this is going to be, again, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, thank you. If, you are a listener on my podcast, thank you as well, because I'll be actually putting this on my feed. So tonight we got Britt Sanders with us, Dan Miner, Dez, and Sal. These guys are the Dashboard contributors, always helping out with the Dashboard, providing great content. We got all sorts of great stuff on the Devy Dashboard, so check that out. So yeah, we have a really cool mock draft today. I'm pretty excited. We got a mock draft that we decided to do. That it was an idea that we had, on our Slack chat of doing like a 3-round rookie Devy kind of combo draft, right? And so I'm excited about doing that because I think for two reasons. Number one, if you're doing a startup draft, right, and you've decided to do your NFL draft first, there's a good chance that you might do a rookie Devy kind of combo instead of a rookie and Devy separate draft, right? So I think this will give a good idea of what that draft might look like, as well as really kind of share with us some of, I guess, the value of the 2023 class versus the 2022 class, right? And I think there's some interesting results in here. So it's going to be fun. We're going to do a 3-round mock, right? It's going to be a standard super flex, tight end premium, PPR. So what I'm going to do is we're going to kind of go through. Everyone's going to talk about their picks. Corey, Piera and Rich Adams could not join us tonight, but they also participated in this mock. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to talk about the first round. And then after each round, I'm going to post kind of an image that will be a summary. So sit back and relax, just enjoy listening to it and watching if you're on YouTube. And at the end of each round, I'll post an image so you can kind of get an overview, create a snapshot for yourself or whatever. And I'll certainly list the players. So let's get right to it. Enough of me chatting here. So Dez, you got the lucky lottery ball with the first pick, so again, this is going to be 2022 players, rookies headed to the NFL, and pretty much all classes, incoming freshmen, everybody in Devy. So, Des, let's talk about it. Who'd you pick, my friend?
Well, of course, since I got lucky and got the 101, I'm just going to go with my guy, Bijan Robinson. He was a player that, has been on the radar for the last couple of years. He's everything you want in a running back. So, that's a guy I would definitely would want on my dynasty roster. So I think he's the 101 of this draft. So that's why I chose him.
Yeah, I don't think that's probably, I think he is probably the biggest dynasty asset right now in all of Devy, rookie, whatever you want to call it, without a doubt. So I like that pick. Not unexpected at all. So who's got the next pick here? We got Britt. All right, so Bijan's off the board. Who are you going with?
Calm down, microphone. Calm down. But Bijan's off the board. I went with Breece Hall. I think that the other person I probably would have considered was Jahmyr Gibbs. I think, even though it's a super flex league, I just like the fact that Breece Hall is coming out now, and I like the fact that he's heads and shoulders above the rest of this class, and I think that's going to actually favor him, where we're going to with the team that he's going to be drafted towards. So I went to Breece over Gibbs just to kind of hedge against the possibility that maybe Gibbs gets banged up or for some reason disappoints in Alabama, which is exceedingly unlikely. But I am prioritizing production 1 year early over probably better production in a year and a half.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I mean, we know he's going to get probably early day 2 draft capital. Should hopefully land in one of those juicy spots we're all waiting for: Atlanta, Miami, Cardinals, something goody. You're right. So, all right, Sal, you're at the 103. Who do you got?
I almost went Travion because I love Travion. I mean, right there, he's number 2 with me. I mean, Breece, I like Breece, nothing wrong. I think it's kind of more of a safer. But instead, I went with Bryce Young. I mean, you think quarterbacks are desperate. Look at the ones coming out this year. Next year is going to be even more demand to have a quarterback. And Bryce Young is QB1 coming out next year above CJ Stroud.
Who says?
I say,
Sal. You say. Okay.
That's enough for me.
That's right. Hey, go with your guy. I'm only giving you a hard time, friend. Yeah, I like that. I mean, he's probably the consensus number 1 playing for Bama. He certainly should be, super productive next year. So I got the 104 here, and I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm going to wait a year. I really was thinking Kenneth Walker here, but I'm going to go with the upside of him again next year. I think he's really the number 2 guy in next year's class. Going to Bama, he should be just absolutely electric. I'd like to see him put on a little bit more weight because, as we know, this time next year, where everyone's going to be talking about is 200 pounds. So I'd like to see him. He can put on a little weight in that Alabama weight room, but he should be super productive, and just his draft stock should go through the roof. So, kind of passing, on Spiller here and Walker. Kind of gonna reach a little forward here in the 2023 class. So. Rich had the next pick at 105. He went with Sal Trevion Henderson. He is also reaching, but he's even reaching farther in the 24 class. So he's going to have to wait 2 years. But again, Ohio State running backs, we know the success that they've had. He should, in that class, be the RB1 unless something just crazy happens, right? Mm-hmm. Corey comes in at 106. He picked Treylon Burks. So, good value here, getting potentially the number 1 wide receiver in this rookie class. There are a lot of good receivers, I think, in this class. A lot of people have Garrett Wilson. I like Jameson Williams, whatever your flavor is. There's all types of receivers coming out in this draft. So, I can't blame them for the Treylon Burks pick. Everyone comps him to A.J. Brown, that kind of thing. So he should be a good receiver. It's going to, hit our NFL dynasty rosters next year. And I should have someone, I'm expecting again, depending on landing spot, a decent, productive first season. If again, he lands in a good spot with the QB, you can get him the ball, good offensive system. So Dan, you've waited very patiently for the 1.07. Who are you taking with the 7th pick in the first round?
So at 107, I went with my highest ranked quarterback on the board, which is CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is my unquestioned number 2 in the 2023 class. I think there's a big drop off right now as far as what we know about quarterbacks and what we're predicting there. And the guy is just a straight up baller. I mean, over 4,000 yards this year. I think he had 44 touchdowns. They're going to lose some receiving production with Garrett Wilson and Olave off to the draft, but they still have Jackson Smith and Jigbo, one of my favorite players. And Marvin Harrison Jr. coming in. He should produce as well. So I'm excited. I think he's hopefully will not go all DJU on us and solidify that number 2 quarterback spot in 2023.
Dan, I just have to pipe in here. No small hands Pickett. I mean, you've been talking Pickett for all year. Pickett.
Man,
nope.
See, there's a misconception. Just because I love Pickett in this class doesn't. That's it's admittedly a weaker class, but yeah. I do have Stroud ranked higher than all of the quarterbacks coming out this year. So.
All right, these are quarterback hands, Dan. These are quarterback hands right here, baby. Quarterback hands.
Hey, it's not about the hands; it's how you use them, right? Not about
that's right.
Yep.
That's right. All right, Des. We're going back to you with the 108. We're just going down the list here. This isn't going to be like a per team thing. We're just kind of going down this through value. So, Des, we're back to you. Who you taking?
Right here, I'm going to take one of my favorite wide receivers. I'm going to take Keyshawn Boutte. He's one of the top guys that I see coming out in the 23 class. It was some rumors or things going out that he was supposed to be in the transfer portal. I don't think he's there, so I think he's going to stay at LSU. I really like him on that team, and he's one of those guys that makes explosive plays. He's a really good route runner. Just one of those guys that is just like I said about Bijan. He's the type of receiver that I like in a wide receiver. So his body frame, the way he plays, I just love him. So I thought it was good to get him here and get your guys, I guess. So
that's it. Always get your guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Britt, at the 109, who are you taking?
Yeah, Des made it easy for me, which I really appreciate, Des. Thank you. I think we both are on the same thought pattern where when you had in this opportunity to go and grab yourself a top end wide receiver from the 2023 draft class, you just jump at it. I took Jackson Smith Najigba. I think when you have a younger guy that outproduces both Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave for Ohio State, you just jump on that. I really like the way his game is going to translate to the NFL. I think we're seeing a lot more of those similar prototypical players that are actually excelling and getting kind of boosted up the fantasy production just by his versatility. And as a nerd, what he's been able to do is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not that much of a nerd. All right, Sal, at the 110, Well, who do you got?
Well, after Butte and JSN, I mean, I might as well wait for 23 wide receivers. I didn't see any running backs jumping up too early for Caleb. So I went with Garrett Wilson. Can't go wrong with him. He could be the number one receiver picked. I just pray and Devy he doesn't wind up in Cleveland or, God forbid, Philadelphia.
All right.
Yeah.
That's enough negative Eagles talk. All right. So, all right. I got the 111 here. I again am also going to fade, this quarterback class, and I'm going to go with Khleeb Williams. I think in the, 2023 class, I think he, is really just going to be productive at USC. I think we all know that he's got the skill set. He's got to work on some things, but I think the upside for him in that Lincoln Riley offense is going to increase his draft stock. And again, I'm just a little bit weary of the quarterbacks, although I do feel in this quarterback class, we will get maybe 2 or 3 starters, but I think it's going to take some time. But I think Khleeb Williams, his overall skill set, lends itself to what the NFL is looking for. So a little bit of a reach here, I think, in the quarterback field here, but nonetheless, I feel comfortable, getting at least, I think, the last of the top tier quarterbacks in Devy. As we know, it's a very risky game playing the quarterback roulette wheel in Devy, but I'm going to take a shot here at the 111 with Khleeb Williams. All right, Rich is going to finish this. He went with Quinn Ewers. So you can see he's a 2024 prospect. We certainly have, some, really a run on quarterbacks here. And I think it shows in this particular, round, just looking at all the quarterbacks, we haven't had a 2022 quarterback taken yet. And everyone is reaching for these future quarterbacks. We're going to see if that's a gamble that's going to be worth playing, because we know this time last year, we were talking about Spencer Rattler, DJU, and, we thought that they were surefire, QBs who were going to, hit, right? So we're all taking a little bit of a gamble here, knowing that we at least have 4 first-round quarterbacks that we know are going to get first-round draft capital this year. Not high, but at least first-round draft capital. So I think we're all in a risk here. So I'm just going to go through again the list here of you guys can take a look. We got Bijan Robinson, number 1, number 2, Breece Hall, Bryce Young, Jahmyr Gibbs, Trevion Henderson, Treylon Burks, CJ Stroud, Kayshon Boutte, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Garrett Wilson, Khleeb Williams, and Quinn Ewers. All right. So that is, rounding out the first round. And as we know in Superflex, it's quarterbacks, you got to have them, right? And there's just so few that are going to hit. So I can see us all reaching on these quarterbacks in the first round. Like I said, it is a risky proposition, but here we are heading into the second round. Corey is going to take the first quarterback of the 2022 class. He is going to take with the 2.01. He's going to take Matt Corral. So again, I think this 2022 class on my podcast that I'll be dropping this week, I'm going to get in depth about this class compared to next year's class. But nonetheless, I don't know who in this class is actually going to be the number 1 quarterback for me personally. I'm going to let the NFL decide for me. But nonetheless, Corey's been a Corral believer for the last 2 years. And this is pretty much on script of what I think that he would choose given the choice of any of the 22 quarterbacks. I think Corey made, this is an expected pick for him, trying to get that quarterback in this particular class. All right. So Dan, we're going back to you. Tell us who you're taking at the 202.
Yeah. So I'm just going to continue to draft for value right here. When I'm looking at my board, I didn't really see any 2022 prospects that really stood out to me here. Got to go with my guy, Zach Evans, my number 3 running back in the 2023 class. Maybe a bit of a gamble because, there were some issues last year, production, him sort of not wanting to, be a full-time back, all those kind of things, some immaturity issues maybe. But the idea of him at Ole Miss just has me salivating, man. Even in a, 60% share, if he gets, I think he can really ball out. And I'm excited for that. I think he could really jump up into that top tier of 2023 running backs. So there it is.
All right. So we got Dez taking the 2.03. Who you got?
I'm gonna take a running back as well. It was real close for me. I almost went with a quarterback and a wide receiver here, but I just stuck with a running back too. So I went with Isaiah Spiller. I just really like his game. I'm really excited to see where he lands in this year's draft. Is he going to be at the combine? I mean, I'm hoping so.
He's not. Goodbye draft capital.
But hopefully he gets some good draft capital and lands somewhere pretty good, because I think between, like, if I was in a rookie draft, to be honest, and I really was kind of targeting Breece Hall and I missed out on Breece Hall, I wouldn't be mad if I landed Isaiah Spiller. So I think he's that good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're kind of in the top tier, of running backs in this particular class. Hey, he hits in one of those great landing spots. He should get the opportunity. These running backs usually give us fantasy points sometimes a lot quicker than wide receivers, especially the ones at the top of the tiers. All right, so at the 204, Britt, who you got?
You see what I'm doing here? I'm turning the light up because I'm going with Malik Willis. Now listen, I understand a couple things. I understand that he's thrown more interceptions in college than Jalen Hurts with 400 less attempts. I understand that he looked absolutely atrocious against quite a few FCS teams, G5 teams. And I understand that, there's some definite questions regarding his overall play, and the fact that he's a lesser passer than Jalen Hurts certainly makes me not thrilled about this pick. But overall, we do know one thing when it comes to fantasy football, and that's that rushing quarterbacks eat on a per game basis and a per attempt basis at a higher clip than those that are a little bit more statue-esque. I think at this point where I am seeing the field where everything's lying, I'm more than willing to take a shot on Malik Willis. I think after the combine, he's going to run something stupid, like probably a 4.52, and then he's probably going to get drafted quarterback 2, quarterback 3. Do I think he's going to be successful for a long time? Probably not. But I think that he's going to give you 2 to 3 years of really solid fantasy football production. And if he gives me top 15 finishes at this spot, then I'm very thrilled to be running away with Malik Willis.
Yeah, I think he's going to definitely be one of the top 2 quarterbacks taken early. I mean, he's just got the overall package that the NFL's looking for right now. So I think he's going to get the draft capital to match that selection. Mm-hmm. All right, Sal, 2.05.
Yeah, there's 2 wide receivers I was going to choose. I was kind of battling which one, and then I knew I had Brandon behind me, so I said I need to snipe him and get his guy. So Drake London worries me just a little bit with the contested catch. I know Jameson is going to be out for a little bit, maybe a little bit longer, but wide receiver, it's not just 1 year. You're talking 5, 8, if they're elite, maybe closer to 10 or more years. I'll take like 7, 8 months of maybe no Jameson Williams for the long term. You can't pass up Jameson Williams at this point.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. I was looking at, we had comments. I forgot all about our comments live on the show here. All right. But I'll get to it in a minute. All the guys on the comments, because it's my turn at the 2.06. I'm going to take Drake London. All right. Because it's time to get back to the 2022 class and stop with this future projection of taking all these future players, right? This guy's going to get first round draft capital. Jeremiah, the guy from the NFL.com. I mean, he's got him going.
Daniel Jeremiah.
Yeah, Daniel Jeremiah. Got him going top 10. I know. I mean, I like his size, his physicality. Yeah, of course. I think, Sal, you hit it right on the head. I think that's what everyone's concerned about. Everyone loves the highlight catches, but he's always got someone seems to be close to him down the field, vertical. I get it. But the guys that do this for a living, I mean, he's creeping up every one of their draft boards, and I got to trust that they know a lot more than me. And I'm going to go with wide receiver here. I almost took Kenneth Walker here. I almost took Kenneth Walker, but I'm going to go with Drake London because I think he's going to get that really early day 1 draft capital and hopefully, lands in a great spot. So I got Drake London here. Oh, I guess it's me, right? No, Rich. Okay, that's right. It's me. I'm sorry. I'm so focused on these comments. So anyway, all right.
I think Britt has a question.
Let me say something good. I like Drake London. At the combine, this is what you want to look with Drake London. You want to see him run faster than a 4.6, and you want to see his 20-yard shuttle and his 3-cone not be absolutely atrocious. As long as he hits those things, he's a top 3 wide receiver in this class.
His vertical is going to be legit.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Well.
All right, at the 2.07, Rich took Kenneth Walker. All right, which is understandable. He's probably the last tiered running back, I think, in this particular 2022 class. So that's certainly understandable. Corey at the 2.08, taking another one of Corey's guys. This is Corey's guy through and through is Joshua Downs, wide receiver, 2023 prospect in North Carolina. It's going to be a really interesting year for Josh Downs. He doesn't have Sam Howell anymore, so we're going to have to see. But he's one of these explosive, smaller players that you can put all over the field who's got just great separation skills and ball skills down the field. So definitely a solid pick for Corey. So going back to you, Dan, who do you got at 2.09?
Yeah, I'm going back to the well here. There's just really nothing, all the good 2022 running backs are gone. I'm going to go with Tank Bigsby. I do have some questions about Tank Bigsby. He certainly didn't produce like we hoped this year. There's questions about that offense. There's questions about him as a player. Overall, the receiving production really hasn't been there. The yards have kind of been there, but he's the best guy on my board right now. And I think he could be primed for a really big year. Again, it's a gamble, but he's my number 4 back in the 2023 class. I'm going to take a chance.
There you go. All right. So at the 2.10, Des, you're up.
Okay. I took Sam Howell here. I just really wanted to, like, out of all the quarterbacks that was kind of still left. I mean, I do like Kenny Pickett, but if I had to take a quarterback here, it would be Sam Howell. I'm hoping he once again lands in a good solid spot here in the draft somewhere where he can. I don't necessarily would like him to start day one. It would be good if he could kind of go in and kind of learn first, but get with a good organization. But you never know with the NFL these days; they want all the rookies to kind of come in and hit the track running. So I don't know, but I'm hoping for the best for him because he's one of the guys that was kind of high on my list. I want to say last year, but then he had a kind of a subpar season and. Kind of had a bounce back kind of thing where it was like he was really spoken highly of with like the Spencer Rattlers and the DJUs, and he kind of had a subpar season, to my opinion. I was really expecting a whole lot more to for what he did out there this past season, though.
Yeah.
Can I chime in here real quick on him? Of all the quarterbacks that we talk about in the 2022 class, I am the most worried about Sam Howell's draft capital. And look, I'm basing a lot of that off of mocks, right? Off of guys like Daniel Jeremiah that are, I like him. I really do like him as a prospect, but I'm kind of worried he's going to slide the most out of all these guys.
Yeah, we'll have to see. A lot of people comparing him to like Trask and all that, but I don't know. We're gonna have to see how it goes. It's gonna be fascinating with all these guys in the first round. I can't wait to see how it all ends up. 211. Britt, who do you got?
I feel attacked. Oh my gosh. Sam Howell lost 4 guys to the NFL, and then what he does, he turns around and gets over 600 yards rushing. If you look at Sam Howell's rushing yards compared to Malik Willis, it'll literally give you a heart attack. I am not a doctor, but. My pick, I went with the running back for the 2023 running back or the class. I'm just going to call it the running back class. So that's where everyone loves it. Sean Tucker out of Syracuse. I don't know who. It's probably someone on the dashboard put me on to him early. If I had to guess, it's probably Rich because that's kind of his deal. Yeah. But I mean, when it comes to Sean Tucker, he had a pretty good freshman year. His sophomore year was elite by all means in terms of metrics. I love what he brings to the table. I think that if he's able to carry this into one more season, I think he's pretty locked in at a running back 4. He could even knock on the running back 3 spot if Zach Evans or Tank Bigsby, start to fuddle a little bit. He's one of those guys that people are going to start to warm up to a little bit later into the offseason, but he's one of those guys that I think I'm really excited to get here, especially after getting sniped by Dez with the Sam Howell pick.
Mm-hmm. I think it was Sam was the one touting him. We got to give a shout out to Sam here. He was on him from the get go.
Yeah,
he is in Spain. Right. He needs no shout outs.
That's very true. All right, Sal, you got the last pick of the second round.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dan, but you had plenty of time to get him. So
I was hoping he'd fall one more.
I know he's the 11th player off the board in the 2022 class. I don't know how much that says about the 2022 quarterback class, but even if he goes somewhere and gives you 3 years and then just stinks, even if he gives you Daniel Jones, QB, at this point of a draft, he's going to start somewhere. I mean, I think Malik Willis is a little bit dirtier, but at this point, I'm sorry. At this point,
it's triggering.
The NFL is desperate for quarterbacks, whether they want to admit it or not.
They are, without a doubt.
It's just going to get worse. So Kenny Pickett's going to get a job somewhere.
Yeah,
for sure.
On the
For at
bench.
least 3 years. And then what
With the
happens? See what
small
happens.
glove.
You never know.
Yeah. Sal, do not put that Daniel Jones juju on him, though. You take that back.
I'm putting it on him because you had your chance to pick him earlier.
We should measure Kenny
Man,
Pickett's.
I figured everybody was tired of hearing me talk about him all the time. I wanted to mix it up a little bit for y'all.
We
Your
should
man
measure
is
Kenny
your man,
Pickett's
no
hip
matter what.
width. We should measure Kenny Pickett's hip width because that's what he's going to have to. How much space he's going to take up on the bench.
All right. So
Oh,
here's
man.
this.
He's gonna go to Pittsburgh probably.
Here is
I'd love
this. Here's the second round recap. We got Matt Corral at the 201. At the second pick, Zach Evans, Isaiah Spiller, 204, Malik Willis, 2.05, Jamison Williams, 6th pick in the second round, Drake London, 7th pick, Kenneth Walker, Josh Downs, Tank Bigsby, Sam Howell, 211 is Sean Tucker. And finaling out the second round is small hands Kenny Pickett coming in
Kenny
at the 212. All right. So I'm going to lead off the third round here. And I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy. All right.
Great.
And the reason I picked Xavier Worthy here is I feel as though I was either going to be taking Worthy or Marvin Harrison Jr. And I went with Xavier Worthy only because I think I could use him. He should feast this year in Texas. Of course, Ewers is going to be tossing him the ball, but this is a guy that even if you don't believe is a guy for the NFL from a Devy standpoint. He's going to be like Devonta Smith as far as size, so he'll always be carrying that size issue with him. This guy is a great trade piece right now because he is the Devy darling of all of wide receivers outside of Boutte and Najigba. So you could trade this kid for a ransom right now if you are in a rebuild on a C2C side, and you got another year to be able to hold him and to see his value increase even more if he really kills it at Texas. So I figured here with everything left on the board, the guy that had the most value here at the beginning of the third round, I felt was Xavier Worthy. So that is who I selected with the first pick in the third round. It's going to go to Rich, who ended up taking Michael Mayer. So here we go. The first tight end taken off the board. I mean, again, as far as the tight end position, he is the guy. Him and Brock Bowers are really the only two tight ends I hear anybody in Devy talking about. So given that this is a TE premium league, you might as well then get the best, tight end in Devy. He'll be hitting the draft next year. He could get draft, day one draft capital. We'll have to see. But if not, he's a day two lock next year in the draft. So he's going to be a solid player in the NFL. Look at him like a, Pat Freiermuth kind of production, hopefully in his first year in the NFL. Then Corey is going to go with another guy. I mean, this Corey, man, he doesn't go off script with his guys. So he's taking Jermaine Burton. Him and I did a film grind on this channel, probably a year ago. He's been very high on Burton now, especially the fact that he's going to Bama. He's going to get that Bama bump. He should be starting there with Ja'Cory Brooks and JoJo Earl. I'm assuming those are the three guys that are going to be starting in Bama next year. But nonetheless, Corey gets one of his guys. Corey is coming out of this draft with just about every player that I know that is on his big board. So Jermaine Burton, good selection by Corey here with the 303 pick. So it's going to go back to you, Dan. You got the fourth pick in the third round. Who do you got?
I promise y'all I did not plan this way, just to take all 2023 guys. But, when the value's there, you got to go back to it. So I'm taking Jordan Addison here. So look, the hot debate is, was Kenny Pickett a product of Jordan Addison? Was Jordan Addison a product of Kenny Pickett? I think it goes both ways. I think they both elevated the play of each other. So it'll be interesting to see how Addison responds without him, with whatever the fuck his name is, Slovis. Yeah, with Slovis at quarterback. Talk about Devy Darling falling from grace. My God,
do it with Jordan Addison.
Yeah, he's a great player. I just love watching him play, man. He gets so much separation. The speed is there. The hands are there. So I think he'll have a really good season, and I'm excited to get him here.
Cool. I like it. With the fifth pick, Dez, who you taking, buddy?
I went with Brock Bowers here. We were just talking about him, according to with Michael Mayer, but he was one of those guys that he kind of came on the scene this year. Of course, he's a freshman, and when I did watch Georgia play, he really always looked like he was pretty much unstoppable. He looked really good out there. He looked like a tight end that could be very dynamic. Just like you said, this is a tight end premium league, so you're trying to, maybe catch a nugget, catch a good player at a position where, it's hard to find productive tight ends. So You do have a couple of years before he's actually on your dynasty rosters, but you're hoping that he can continue to get better, maybe get a little bit more size on him, and maybe not lose that speed and go into the NFL, land on a good team, and be very productive on your dynasty roster.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, after that, I don't think a tight end would probably be drafted for another 4 or 5 rounds. In the 6th pick in the 3rd round, it goes to you, Britt.
Yeah, so I panicked. I was at the gym and I saw it, and I felt an overwhelming sense of anxiety to get my pick in, and so I just went with my main man. And now, before I say this, should I have taken LJ Johnson? Yes, or Jackson Dart, or Parker Washington, or countless other guys. But I went with my boy from Kansas, the dude, old boy that stole the starting job as a freshman, Devin Neal. Me and Corey kind of started this bandwagon early last offseason, and Corey's been blessed to, I believe, talk with a family member of his. But I mean, when it comes to Devin Neal, I love his size, of his production. I think what you're going to be getting from him is really, really solid. But I'm just not a big fan of drafting running backs 3 years out. Especially because, to be completely honest with you, I'm not sure Devin Neal carries that running back 1, 2, or 3 upside in 2024. So I think it was probably an error on my end, probably the biggest miss of the draft for me personally. But I am really excited about Devin Neal. So any chance I can get to talk about him, I will take advantage of wholeheartedly.
All right, Sal, with the 3.07.
Well, I don't know. It was interesting to hear you talk about him a little bit earlier, Brandon, because I was wondering if I was reaching a little bit getting him. But I went with Marvin Harrison, wide receiver. He didn't really play that much last year, but in that game against Utah, he did great. I mean, 6 for 71, 3 touchdowns. Fleming is an afterthought. He's going to be starting on the other side. And CJ Stroud's going to throw for 350, 400 a game. I can see Marvin Harrison just getting that draft capital, especially after JSN leaves. It's going to be Ibuka and him, and the draft. They're going to be first round, picked first round in the draft coming in a couple of years. So now's the time to get on board.
Yeah, I like him. I think if you didn't take him, I was going to Sal. So
that's not a reach.
I think I got a couple times.
That's not a reach at all, Sal. Yeah. By the way, he's going pretty high in Devy drafts from what I've seen.
Yeah, you did.
Got the pedigree for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I got him probably number 2 in the class. So, I mean, I think he's going to be spectacular. So, Sal, this is the second time you sniped me. So if you don't get invited back for another mock, you'll know why. But anyway, I'm at the 8th pick here in the 3rd round. And I selected this player just to snipe Rich, who was in front of me. And I wanted to have some fun with him. So I took Nicholas Singleton. He's a incoming 2025 running back. So I'm going to have to wait 3 whole years. Wasn't good. I was going to take George Pickens here, but then I started doing a film study on him and I got cold feet. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to stick it to Rich and have some fun with this mock. I'm going to take the guy that's my number 1 running back. That probably is almost everyone's number 1 running back coming into the 2025 class. He should get some run early at Penn State. Nothing would make me happier if they just stuck him in there. I don't care if he's good or not, and just give him the whole year to produce, since Penn State running backs, there's nobody on that current roster right now that has any kind of Devy value. So right now I'm hoping Nicholas Singleton comes in.
He's going to be huge. I heard on a pod today, they're talking about he's going to be what they wanted Journey Brown to be.
Don't bring up that name, Sal. Come on, man. Have some love.
Bad memories.
Yeah, bad memories for sure. But hey, man, if he turns out, because I was a big Journey Brown guy too. So I'm going to reach here a little bit and have some fun. And Rich is I know he's upset, but he'll get over it. All right, but then Rich came in and he took Quentin Johnston, another 2023 receiver next year that should probably be in the tier 2 group of next year. Should have another productive season at TCU. Bigger kid, that has some vertical game. So I think that's a solid pick again. Corey went another running back. He's going, another one of his guys, Braylon Allen, Wisconsin running back. So he should be getting the run this year. Had a great year. I'm seeing him in mocks right now and Devy startups going in the 1st round. So
it's too rich for me.
Yeah, it is for me
Mhm.
too. I agree. It's he was the guy that last year we all expected him to take over for Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, Berger?
Jalen Berger,
Burger.
right?
He
So
went to
we all thought it
Michigan
was
State.
Berger this time last
Mhm.
year. Everyone this year thinks it's Braylon Allen. So, maybe
Yeah.
the second time is the charm. We'll see. So Dan, we got 2 more picks here left in the
Mhm.
third round. Dan, you got your pick, and then Dez. So Dan, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with one of my guys, and I think he's one of your guys too, Brandon. I'm actually kind of surprised you didn't take him. Ja'Cory Brooks. So, Sal, you were talking about Marvin Harrison Jr., right? And we've talked about Jermaine Burton. There's 2 schools that you want to target wide receivers from right now, Ohio State and Alabama. Those guys, I mean, it's just the way it is. These guys are consistently producing and getting top first-round value. So, yeah, I love Ja'Cory Brooks, man. Everybody was talking about Jai Smith. He's the exception to the rule, right, last year. But I was looking at Ja'Cory. I'm like, better pedigree, right? He's got he was a higher ranked recruit, and he showed out a little bit at the end of the year, when they had all those injuries. And I think he showed enough to where he's going to earn a significant role this year. Will it be him? Will it be Jermaine Burton commanding the top target? Really, it doesn't matter to me. John Mechie and Jameson Williams did it this year. Devontae Smith, fucking Jerry Jeudy, God, they've had so many. They all produce. So
Ruggs.
yeah. I'm very excited to get him, and I'm drafting him everywhere I can get him in value. Tell you that right now.
Yeah, I like it. I got Harrison as my number 1 in that class, and Ja'Cory Brooks number 2. Even both of them over Xavier Worthy, just like their size and a little bit better. But in any case, all right, Dez, and you're gonna finish us out here. Finish out this draft. Who you got?
All right, so we was coming down to the end of the draft, and I want to say, Dan, you had tagged me, and I think it took me like all night to make my pick. I don't think you guys noticed, because I just was looking around. I was like, why is David Bell still on the board?
Yeah.
So that's who I chose, to be honest. But it was really tough because we still had Pickens and Olave. You have Dodson still on the board, Kyron Williams. Where, I probably, if I was in the draft and I was actually drafting, I would probably snag one of them. But I just, for some reason, it made me look back into David Bell, and he was one of those guys that was talked about a lot as well. As far as a wide receiver, he was very productive. I just think what knocks him is maybe his size. I don't know where he's going to be going as far as draft capital and things like that.
Flashy. He does a lot.
Yeah,
of things
he's just very. Yeah, I think that's what I feel about him.
Yeah.
I just wanted the reason why I picked him because I just wanted to hear everybody's thoughts on it, because we picked a whole lot of people in this draft, and for somebody that was kind of talked highly of, what happened to him.
The biggest worry for me, Des, is that before all the smokes came out or is coming out now, before all that, it was that the NFL industry is much lower on David Bell, a la Tyler Johnson, than like everyone else. And that was way before you usually get these like inflammatory reports about like Jerome Ford going to the 5th round, all that horse pucky. So like hearing that caused quite a bit of concern. The combine is going to be really, really big for him. It really is, just from a measurement perspective, and also what he's able to do in the gauntlet and everything else, because he needs to make a team fall in love with him. And if he can't do that, then we're very well looking at a 4th to 5th round draft projection possibly.
Yeah, you know what? I think this was just a really good exercise. To me, there's 2 players that need to be on this list. Chris Olave and Dotson, I think we're all nuts for not having them in this draft personally, because we already know they're going to get day 1 draft capital, right? So, I mean, this is just what we do as Devy guys. We always think, the guys ahead or better, but, I think at the same time, there's a tendency maybe to lose sight of the fact that we do have some quality players right in front of us here. So I think if we were to redo this again, I think Olave, Dotson, I'm not Kyron Williams, Jerome Ford. I'm looking at the list of guys that weren't in it. Wandale Robinson, Brian Robinson, Algier. Yeah, Pickens too. But Pickens doesn't look like he's a draft 1 lock, right? Where Olave is a day 1 lock, and so is Dotson.
I probably would have went with Olave right there if I was honestly in the draft. That's why I said that before. I said that I picked David Bell, because I probably would have went with Olave.
Right. So, but in
Yeah.
any case, I think overall this draft was fun, guys. It was, I think it shows like right now, I'm going to give you the totals. So out of this draft, we had 12 guys out of the 2022 class drafted, 13 guys out of the 2023 class, 10 out of the 2024. And then I was the only person who took Nicholas Singleton of the 2025 class. But again, I did that really to snipe Rich more than anything else. I should have taken Olave too, to be honest with you, because I'm probably higher on him than most people. But in any case, so listen, guys, I want to thank you for joining me and doing this. I hope
were you gonna check out the questions
or the comments?
Oh no, but you know what I didn't do either? I didn't put the questions are just chatting. They're not really questions. They're like chatting. So to finish up let me just do this real quick. The third round, we're going to Xavier Worthy, Michael Mayer, Jermaine Burton, Jordan Addison, Brock Bowers, Devin Neal, Marvin Harrison Jr., Nicholas Singleton, Quentin Johnston, Braylon Allen, Corey Brooks, and David Bell. So just want to give you guys the visual and then listening on the podcast, obviously. So we did have some questions. Is that what you guys are saying?
Just that everyone said that Britt just definitely destroyed this draft, which is more of a statement than a question. But I mean,
is that what you're saying?
Comment, Britt?
That's really interesting because I don't see that at all on here. So
the comment in his own mind.
The comment in his own mind.
Still real to me. That's your experience, Sal. This is my experience.
Everybody's got an experience.
Perception is reality.
That's right. So, guys, thank you for joining me in this exercise. And next week we're going to be probably getting together talking about the post-combine information. So, if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. If you're listening on the podcast feed, thank you so much for you guys and your support over the years. Until next Tuesday, ciao, everybody.
Have a good night.
All right, take care.